Now it's time for part 15 of Into the DCEU. We're back finally, and we're gonna review the newest DC film, which is titled
Beetle.
It's also called The Flasher, which is what I'm calling it from now on. So, we went to go see this on cheap night, because I had just seen this on preview night.
Yeah, I can't believe
on Thursday night. And then it got to Tuesday, and as the movie's starting and the opening credits and the DC logo is coming up, I start laughing. I'm sitting there. I didn't really have a fun time the first time, and now I'm sitting here 4 days later watching it again. What am I doing, right?
What are you doing
now?
Yeah.
I admit I had a much better time this second screening. Let's look up what the critics are saying on it now. I did a spoiler-free review. Did you watch it yet?
No, because I didn't want to get any
spoilers.
So,
78% certified fresh critic rating and a 91% audience score. So people are enjoying this. And in our last episode, I was reading out, we got comments. People did enjoy this. Dave really enjoyed it. He thought it was one of the best movies he's seen this year. Okay. And if general audiences are enjoying it, that's great. On my second viewing, I enjoyed it more. Okay. And it's not the most amazing movie. So this is going to be a spoiler talk, because the last one was spoiler free. So we're going to spoil the crap out of this, because by the time this comes out, it'll be like 3 weeks after the movies come out. This is a very generic superhero movie. It's a basic origin, and I don't like origin movies myself. I'd rather just jump right in. It's like, okay, he's the superhero, he's established, let's go. I don't need to see an origin. I hate origin stories myself.
Do the origin after 6 movies, maybe, so we can figure out where it came from.
Yeah, or just do it in 30 seconds in the credits, like they did with The Incredible Hulk. Remember that? They did it during the credits. Or, remember Batman 89? They didn't do the origin. You just start off, he's Batman, let's go. That's what you need.
We currently have a very large snail crawling up into our doorbell. We're thinking a superhero is going to be made any minute now.
Snail Man? Snail Girl? I don't know.
When it gets into that doorbell, what's going to happen?
So, you should start on this movie, because I've already given some thoughts, but I'll talk more about this. So, tell us why you like The Flasher.
I don't know why you're calling it that. I tried really hard to get into this movie, but I really think that I'm really on superhero overflow mode. You made me watch all those horrible DC movies.
This is our DC segment.
I know.
We're on part 15.
And I was like, come on, get into it. Come on. And I just couldn't care. I really couldn't care. Okay. I was like trying so hard. And I was like, I don't even know why they made this movie, to tell you the truth. It's just so generic superhero. Like, the family being this, like, Latin family, that's great. And having issues, like, with their citizenship, that's great. But they weren't at all, like, too concerned about getting evicted. I mean, they were going to get evicted, but that didn't run through the movie very much. And when their house got smashed up, like, a lot, they weren't concerned about having to pay the landlord, like, compensation. It seems to me like very rich people did this movie, and they have no idea about what people struggle with day to day. The family was not upset about the hole in the ceiling, or then the other hole in the other part of the ceiling, and I just think it was just unrealistic. And then the father died, which was upsetting. But they weren't that upset. I don't know. I just find it was just, I like the family getting involved, but the family were a bit too, they didn't have enough uniqueness about them. They needed to be doing more and seeing them as more real people. And I really didn't like, of course, you always have to have a billionaire involved, because then anything is possible. Having a billionaire girlfriend is always nice, with a lair and everything, full with suits. I mean, it's convenient.
Don't forget about Susan Sarandon.
Yeah,
she's the real billionaire. She's taken over.
Well, these billionaires, oh my god. Anyway, it was just so, like, typical. I just like to see more like real people doing real things, like in a real family. Like Miss Marvel did that a lot better.
So no superheroes then.
No, well, she's a superhero like Miss Marvel.
Oh, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, yeah, and her family was more believable.
So you want it to be more grounded, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they were trying to ground it, I think, but then whoever wrote this doesn't understand.
Okay.
If you put a giant hole in your roof and you owe the landlord like to fix it or compensation, these are things that people like that would be really concerned about. And how did the uncle have such a lovely truck when they don't have any money and they can't afford rent and he's got this fabulous truck?
Because he doesn't pay rent.
What is that?
That's
like
why.
a $60,000 truck or something? That's Canadian. I don't know. The truck was like, listen, if the uncle had an old beat up like Ford from 1985, that still could be a good truck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was Ford. But you know what I mean? Like whoever put this together didn't know anything about money, obviously.
I don't know.
Just really kind of pissed me off. I don't know. And I thought that the girl that played the billionaire girl,
Jenny Cord,
was really kind of
she was very wooden.
Yeah,
I don't think she was acting the greatest in that.
Beautiful girl, but
okay.
I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I don't know why it was necessary. It was better than the Eternals, but it's still not good to me. It wasn't good for me. I don't know
if it was better than the Eternals for me. So Bruna Marquezine plays Jenny Cord. I think she's trying. She's giving it a good effort.
Convenient being a billionaire with a big old mansion with a big lair in it.
Yeah, and her father has gone missing, but now her stepmom was Susan Sarandon supposed to be her stepmom that took over the business. That was unclear. That was unclear to me because it was all in the credits at the beginning. It went by really fast.
It was her aunt.
Okay.
They left it to the father, but then I was unclear about where the father was.
So let's go through this. Here's what I liked about this. Okay, so Palmera City, which is a fake city in the DC world, because all DC cities are fake, right? We get reference to Gotham City because he comes in on the plane and he went to Gotham Law School. Also, do you notice how everyone is really mean to him? All the normal people that he interacts with, like there's an old guy on the escalator and he's mean to him. And then when he goes and, the secretary at the Cord building, there's this blonde white lady. So typical bitch secretary, he walks up, doesn't say anything, and she's like, deliveries around back, you poor bastard.
Well, a good secretary is like a French waiter. You do realize that.
Apparently. So whoever's playing the stereotypical bitchy secretary, she did a great job. And so I enjoyed that part of it. Now, the main guy, Zolo, from Cobra Kai, he's great in this. And everyone, part of his family, all these actors and actresses, they're doing a great job. They're giving it their all. With whatever they're given to do, they still give it their all.
The grandmother has the
most pretty
character.
Funny.
She has the most character development.
Disagree.
But the others don't. Like the mother doesn't do very much.
The mother doesn't get very much to do. However, she does get some good moments talking to her son, and at the end when she's piloting that Beetle, which that Beetle thing is just a ripoff of that Archie from the Watchmen movie. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, it's the same thing, except it's blue and it's got yellow eyes, and so it's as a beetle. But it does crawl around, and during that action sequence, when they're stepping on all of them and they crash into base, that was pretty fun. It was dumb.
I was zoning out listening at that point.
But this movie is essentially a cartoon. It's not meant to be realistic. It's meant to be a cartoon. Because as soon as he gets back, it's like, oh, we're losing the house. Oh, we already lost the shop, the garage. Okay, and your dad had a heart attack, and he's like, "What is going on? Why didn't you tell me anything?"
But they're also, and the cousin.
So they're losing the house.
Sister is so not written right. I didn't think at
funny.
all.
I thought she was funny.
She doesn't have the right attitude. She's homeless. Like she's gonna be homeless. She doesn't give a shit about her job. She does give that her job, but she doesn't care. I mean, what are they gonna all be living in this fancy truck? I don't know. Like, she's not realistic.
The uncle, who's played by George Lopez, he's the best, okay?
Yeah.
He is just constantly freaking out, and he's got this pimped out pickup truck, which he calls the Taco. And
It's very expensive
when Zolo takes it at one point, who is Jaime Reyes, so when Jaime takes it at one point, he's like, oh no, and he starts screaming like a girl, and he's just freaking out over his truck. But meanwhile, he's an engineer, he can build all this amazing tech, but he has to kick everything to get to work. I think
it would have been better if they had like all this family, because they would have had all this family, and they got cousin so and so that knows how to do this, and cousin so and so that knows how to do this, because the uncle can fly this like he's obviously flown some Black Hawk helicopters in his past. You know what I mean? It would make more sense if they did use the community, because that would be how that family would have. They would have their cousin down the road and their friend that would be able to do these things for them, because the uncle has way too many abilities.
Yeah,
in one
he's got
person.
he's got a lot of free time on his hands. How come all of them seem to be out of work?
Well, this is the thing. The sister doesn't give a damn about her job. And she's fired. She doesn't seem to care. Like,
she's a 20-year-old woman. Who cares?
She's a 20-year-old woman who's homeless, essentially.
She lives with her family.
They're homeless. They're getting evicted, and they've just smashed the house up, which means they're gonna be like not got a reference. They're not even gonna be able to live anywhere else. That's what I didn't like about it. Basically, whoever wrote this never thought about money.
That's
and
not their fault. Okay, they didn't smash up the house.
But their mindset is not correct for some.
When they first get the scarab, which, by the way, like, that's wacky comic book ridiculousness. It's kind of dumb. But when they first get the scarab and it jumps on his face and they're all freaking out, that was hilarious. Especially the uncle. It's on your face.
I liked the part with them freaking out. I thought that was good. But that was really my favorite part of the movie.
The Nana has an interesting backstory from revolutionary periods going back, and she knows how to handle a minigun.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
My uncle knows how to fly a very, very sophisticated helicopter.
Yep.
I don't know.
What else you got there?
I can see the people that do have revolutionary past.
Okay, so Jaime here really needs to talk to his AI suit there, because every time it's in the trailer, every time it goes on to him, the Blue Beetle suit, it burns away all his clothes. He's going to be spending a fortune on clothes. It's what I mentioned in my spoiler-free review, because remember Luke Cage, when he was constantly getting shot and he's like sick of having to buy new clothes all the time. Because he's bulletproof, but his clothes aren't.
I think
and he's poor.
There wasn't that much development there between the suit and him. I would have liked more of that.
I didn't really care for that AI suit. That AI was really snarky and sassy with him. It's like, oh, I thought you'd never asked for the arsenal, and you're overreacting too much. Really Calm down.
Have a good personality. It wasn't
no, I didn't
defined.
like it. What the suit did look pretty good, and one effect that I really enjoyed was the eyes. The eyes look great on that thing. I don't
usually care about the suits, as you know. But
Normally I don't either.
I didn't really get the relationship between him and the suit, or it wasn't developed enough. I didn't really know what the suit's real motives were. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
where did it come from? Why did it choose him? And why is there all this other mysterious puzzle boxes with Jenny Cord's dad, who has gone missing, but apparently he's still alive? I mean, you stick around for the end credit.
The suit itself should have had
the mid-credit scene.
Should have understood his personality more and talked to him and stuff like that. That would have made it more interesting.
Okay. What made this movie fun for me was the family. Okay, he's great in it. The family's great. Susan Sarandon is just the over-the-top wacky comic book villain, so she's there for a paycheck. Okay, she doesn't do a bad job or anything, but it doesn't really stand out to me. And also, I'm not a huge Susan Sarandon fan, but I don't have anything against her. It just kind of needed a bit more. Now, keep in mind, this movie was originally not supposed to be released in theaters. This was a made-for HBO Max movie.
Wow.
And when the new Warner Brothers Discovery management came in, they had a look at it and they said, no, we're putting it in theaters. Which, okay, so they're going to make some money off of it. Hopefully they didn't spend too much on marketing. I mean, obviously this is going to flop, just like all the DC movies have flopped in the last few years, which is why they're rebooting. overall, this was a fun time. General audiences are enjoying it. It has some fun stuff in it, but at the same time, it's all for people who see a lot of these things like us. This is very generic, and it doesn't bring anything new to it.
No.
The only thing that's sort of new is the dynamic with the family, and
we needed more dynamic with the suit. I think that would have made it more interesting.
It had good humor, yeah, because he's screaming at the suit all the time.
Don't really. That would have been a new element if the suit had its own weird personality and did more explainable things.
Well, we've had that before with Iron Man and his AI Jarvis. And now his second AI, Friday.
Yeah, I just think that could have been something different. I don't know. And more family, yeah, having all the cousins and I know where we can get so and so. We got to go down to cousin so and so's place.
The look of this city was pretty good. It's a lot of fluorescent and neon lights.
I thought it was
it looked beautiful.
City at first.
Palmyra City.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe they were doing Panama City.
Now they reference they reference Gotham City. They reference Batman.
Is it supposed to be Miami? Or like Fort Lauderdale?
No, it's like Florida Keys.
Okay.
It's in the Keys. I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. Okay, so we get reference to Gotham. We get reference to Batman. We get reference to Superman. I don't know if we get reference to any other superheroes, but I like that they didn't include any other superheroes in this because there's no need for it, right?
No, that was fine.
The villain was like...
Well, yeah, Wonder Woman didn't show up like she does
in the last couple. Okay, but you didn't need any, good. And I like that. You don't need to throw in cameos if there was no need to have any kind of cameos in this or anyone else. It's just his own story, and I like that. That was a good thing. I didn't
quite understand what the villain was building. I kind of didn't really get what all those suits, what all that was about. Didn't she need people for the suits? I don't know. I didn't really get it. So they built
these carapaces, these external skeletons that attach to your spine and your brain, which, okay, that doesn't sound good. But also, she needed to get the Scarab to download its AI or its code into these things to make them better. But she put this program into effect years ago.
Carapax. It sounds like Carapace was her.
It was the OMAC, who's just kind of a carbon copy of Blue Beetle, and
I don't know,
kind of ridiculous. The villain wasn't very good. I didn't find.
She had like an army of people, and they were going to attach to them. I don't know. I just was a bit confused about all that.
Okay, I like how it wasn't the world's going to be destroyed or the city's going to be blown up. You don't need every superhero thing to be like that. This is just a self-contained story where he's taking on the villain, but also he's learning his powers at the same time. The villain was quite disappointing, for me at least, and looked rather ridiculous. But also there's too many other stakes. Okay, we don't have jobs. The house, we're losing the house. It's also being destroyed. Not that they care because it's not their house.
Destroyed. Well, you still have to pay for damage.
Then all these cops, private security show up to take them out, and it's really the script could have been a bit better, I think.
mean, if the villain didn't have much money and was trying to get money from a contract with the government, that would have made more sense as well. She already had all the money. I don't know, her motivations were confusing. It could have gone into that whole thing, whereas the U.S. government's been so much on military. And in this world, the same thing. I don't know. I just don't know why they made this thing in the first place.
It was greenlit by the previous management.
Don't know.
So the previous management at Warner Brothers was, okay, this doesn't work, we'll try something. And they just keep, it's essentially the tactic of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? So they made a Superman movie. Oh, it didn't make billions of dollars for us. I guess people don't like Superman. Let's do it. Let's never do Superman again. And that's not the reason. It's because people want good movies. They want to see Superman, they want to see Batman, but they want to see them in good movies. They don't want to see them in BVS, okay, or either of those Justice League movies, okay? So it has some good stuff in it, and I enjoyed it more on the second viewing. So my advice, if you're going to watch Blue Beetle, get baked and watch this movie. It'll be much more fun, okay? Don't go into it sober. That's my advice.
So I just thought, I'm just done. This is like the last nail. In
We
the
only
coffin.
got one more DCEU movie
gosh.
coming,
What
and
is that one?
Aquaman 2,
Oh,
which
goodness.
may or may not be coming this December.
Stiff fish people.
It's
That's all we need.
scheduled for release in December. Now,
Everything's getting pushed back.
in terms of your ranking, you want to talk about your ranking?
I don't even know.
Okay. What kind of rating would you give this?
I couldn't get into it. I tried. It wasn't charming. It wasn't. It was better than some of them. Was it better than Wonder Woman? I really didn't like things about. There's nothing I really didn't like about this. There's nothing I really liked about this.
Okay, we can talk about your ranking,
know.
but what? How would you rate this movie on itself? What rating would you give it?
Give it
Best, worst?
I don't do that. I'll probably give it like a 72.
Okay, I'm gonna. I don't think I gave it a rating on my spoiler review, and I would have given a worst movie ever. But I think I had a little bit more fun with it this time, so I'm gonna give it a best movie ever. Audiences are enjoying this. I recommend checking this out, even if you're not into super. It's pretty fun, right? It's a fun, wacky movie.
If you've never watched a superhero movie before and just watched this one, you'd think it was okay.
Yeah, probably. But because I've seen so many Marvel, DC, and other superhero stuff, this is very generic for me. Anyone else see Blue Beetle? Let us know your comments down in the comments below.
She's not gonna see it. She's got her eyes closed.
No, she's not gonna see it. But we appreciate anyone who watches this video, gives us a thumbs up. We always are thankful for that because we are getting more viewers and everything lately, so that's good. So. Anyway, Blue Beetle, I'll give it a best movie ever, but just barely, right?
Okay.
Want to hear from other people? Let us know what you think of Blue Beetle. And that was part 15 of Into the DCEU. Only got one more left.